Nope, that's wrong. So
Great.
Okay.
A lot of new people here at the Creative Mornings, which is really cool. Can I get a feel for like why you guys are here? Why did you guys show up here? For you. Women. I'm gonna try not to cringe that one. Just kidding. What else?
I have been working remote since COVID and have felt the need to like connect with more creatives in Salt Lake and
Yeah.
in this area and that was like showing up hobby shops and he's striking up conversations with people.
Yeah.
So it was quite sort of hoping to meet some new folks and maybe spark some conversation and get some more creatives just as fun.
I love that. Approach him. All right. What else? Yeah.
I got laid off in November. Started full-time freelancing. Been locked in my basement all winter.
Yeah, seasonal depression.
Being sad as shit, and so I felt like I wanted to branch out and network and leave the basement.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. What do you freelancing?
What do I freelance?
Yeah.
I'm a creative director, right?
Study. Connection.
LinkedIn? Okay. Amazing. Anyone else? I just love to understand like who I'm talking to, what you guys do, things like that, just to make sure this is like the most relevant conversation. I'm not trying to like sit here and like teach at you. I like to conversate with you.
We're students at Slick.
Let's go. Let's go. I graduated from Slick. So
Oh, awesome.
their design program.
So, I mean,
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm Kes. People know me as Kes. Kesia is kind of what we advertise, but identity crisis. I'm approaching my 30s. Okay. But although you'll get to know me throughout this presentation, there's a few things that I wanted you in particular to know about me, and it'll kind of come around full circle. But the first one is I'm a daughter of an immigrant father. Came from Samoa, Polynesian, and I was born to a woman who was a first-time mother at 14 years old to her previous husband. And yeah, that is like a huge identity piece for me because, well, I'll get into it, but like it taught me hard work, right? So huge identity piece. At 12 years old, I was charging the entire middle school $10 for custom designing their MySpace profile. Now, yeah, right? 12 years old, don't think I was like supposed to technically have like a MySpace, but I was like, you know, that kid that was like on Paint, like loved like colors and things like that. So when I was exposed to the internet way too young, I ended up teaching myself like how to code, how to customize fonts and layouts on MySpace, and it was effortless. People were just like, can you do that to mine? Can you do that to mine? I was like, yeah, just bring in the money though, because I had to pay for my hot Cheetos summit. No, I love it. And I'm the founder and creative director at a heart-led branding studio called Brands. And it is my pride and joy. I've done it for about 3 years now, and I've built it to be exactly where I need it to be. And we're going up, we're going out, and I'm hoping to expand it in a way that impacts the lives of other people. This is not just a business to me. This is not just a money machine for me like most agencies are. We're very niched, and yeah, there's some heart behind it, some soul. All right, so out of these 3 stories, there's a lot about my character that I'm just very self-aware, okay? And I think that in that, having that quality for yourselves is one of the greatest things that can impact your work, your lives, your relationships, with self and with other people. So what being, coming from my family, what that taught me was hard work. It taught me not to ever cut corners. In this world, it's so fast-paced, fast marketing, fast business, money this, money that. And I'm trying to take it slow, and I'm trying to help others just take it even slower, because we're not in a rush. We have so much time, and luxury and quality just comes with time. What I learned about my MySpace days. I learned that I'm an analytical hustler, and I also am a creator. So when I went to go get my degree in design, I was like, wait, this feels really good. Like, I understand how to exercise this like new technical skill that I learned through design. And I knew, like, going into my career, I was like, hey, there's something here. This is my superpower. I'm going to try to use it to build my career, to go where I want to go. So understanding that superpower is something that we're going to kind of like talk about today, because analytical thinking and creativity are quite opposite things. But there's this blend that when we find it, there's magic in it. And then lastly, owning a business is flipping difficult. Like, it is difficult. So I learned this about myself, that I'm a risk taker. I love investing. I love the way that business makes you think. And I'm also a tastemaker in design. And I get to help people create their brands, scale their brands in the most intentional, long-lived ways. This is one of my favorite quotes, and it honestly changed everything for me, because it allowed me to explore my life just more consciously, more openly, more expressively. It allowed me to think beyond just what was right in front of me, which in my day-to-day for a long time in my job was like, I'm a designer, I'm a graphic designer. But what was beyond that? What was the sole purpose of this design craft that I wanted to get into? When you know yourself, you are empowered. And when you accept yourself, you're invincible. This is by Tina Lifford. She's an actress, she's an author, she's a coach, she's a really great person. But today, this is kind of what we're going to explore. We're going to explore self. So in branding, what I help people do is identify their business, their purposes, why their audience needs them. On a personal level, if I'm working with an individual who's trying to kind of be a thought leader in their space, it oftentimes comes to their own personal purpose and their core values. So I want you guys to explore you today. This is what this is all about. So we're gonna have a first practice. I want you guys to take out your phones, open up your notes app. And this exercise is really to help you understand yourself better. It's that self-evaluation. And the idea is that you show up just more confidently and authentically in your world. So whether you're an analyst, a strategist, a designer, an entrepreneur, whatever you are, the idea is that you get to reflect on how you perceive you and how other people perceive you. So the first question we're going to answer today has to do with our open selves. What do others know about ourselves that we also know? So go ahead and take a moment to reflect on that, whether it's a bullet point list, journal entries, whatever you want. Go ahead and wrap up your thoughts there. Next question. This is what's considered the hidden self. What do we know about ourselves but choose to not reveal to other people? Next question. This is our blind self. So what is apparent to other people? Maybe they've mentioned it before, but it's not necessarily obvious or admitted about ourselves. So maybe it's something someone said, but you kind of just brush it off quickly. Maybe it's something that like hurt you a little bit, and you're like semi-aware.
Okay.
All right, the next question is our unknown self. It's the fourth question out of 5. Our unknown self. What is not apparent to others and not recognized by yourself? So these are blind spots. These are possible triggers, something that gives you an emotional reaction. All right, last question. This is about your future self. So, what is a future version of you like? What are their beliefs? What have they accomplished? What are they doing and how do they feel? You don't have to answer all of that. Just imagine that person again. All right, go ahead and go back to any other questions that you feel like you need to continue on. And I'd love for a few of you to share, like, what was the hardest question that you had to answer and maybe why? This is a school setting, so you just, when you feel inclined.
I think the one for me is why do other people not know about me kind of not also aware? And I guess then it's like, well, I might not know about myself. I don't know, just forces you to think a little harder about different scenarios that have come up that maybe surprised me or that I just don't know the why of the reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thought to kind of contemplate on.
Was that the blind spots question?
Yeah, I think so.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Unknown
thinking.
self.
That's what I was thinking of. You know. Imagine.
What else?
Probably the one that was kind to others. I guess I'm not very good at soliciting feedback like that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to what people would say.
Oh, yeah.
Not to feedback.
That's cool because I think you may have a natural aspect of being hyper-focused and dependent on just your thing. You don't necessarily need that. But it's a good thought, too.
Yeah.
To kind of just progress the way you go on.
That ties into the other question of what do I know about myself that I don't like to share with other people?
Yeah.
That I deeply care about what other people think about me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some relatability in this conversation as these reflections, okay? Like, I think it puts it into perspective that, for one, we're all human and that we're all doing things for different reasons, but also that we have a type of uniqueness to us. And in some ways, there's a lot of gifts that actually can benefit other people. And the more that we explore ourselves, I think the more that we can really find like our individuality in the way that we show up in the world, the way that we show up in conversation, the way that we show up with these bigger, grander ideas that are going to provide us more opportunities, right? So I am the type of person who likes to go deep, and I like to go deep fast. So, I want to challenge you guys that, you know, the more that you explore yourself, especially even in just this conversation, if it starts today, great. But the more that you contemplate on the ideas of what could be, there's immense power in that. So I'm going to go back to this, that when you know yourself, you're simply self-empowered. But when you can accept yourself, you are invincible, you're fearless, and you can go out and do whatever the fuck you feel like you need to be doing, right? Just with so much courage. So the more that I get to know the more that I got to know myself, and this is kind of what it comes back to, the more I got to know myself, the more that I was able to show up in this world more fearlessly, with more opportunities, more dream projects, more innovative ideas, more intentional, like real relationships that actually we were able to really serve each other. And that's when I realized, like, oh shit, like I love being myself. Like this is so freeing, right? And I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my career, and I'm on that path. I'm a very goal-driven person. I like to set the end goal and then be like, okay, cool. Baby steps every week to get to where I need to be, and as long as I feel like I'm progressing towards that, I have this mentality of just kind of being a little bit more proactive. And I think that's my goal for everyone that I get to work with. When I started Brands, we're a branding and design studio. My technical career was obviously in design, but there was such a human aspect to it that couldn't be denied in the process. Because as soon as you tried automating branding, it was like there was a disconnect between even me as the person who has to grasp this vision of someone else and integrate it. So I use tools like psychology and obviously data for my product designers out there, they know. But then there's this like human intuition where I'm like, I have to trust myself. Like I have to trust myself to show up for that person, to show up for their audience. And it's my job to be the expert of self and the expert of their industry, their brand. So our vision at Brands is to really just help create more authenticity and connection in the world that is real. It's not passive, it's not throwing out offers every 2 seconds so that I can collect everyone's money. It is genuine connection, changing lives through real storytelling, right? So, the best way that I could really explore how to come about that was between dualities, contrasts, which goes along with the idea of parallel. So I'll get into that, but I may not use that word because it's tricky to use. But the best way that I could explain what these contrasts could be are between understanding what is masculine and what is feminine. Because the truth is that all of us in this room, we have our own unique balance of what this is. So you can think of it like energy, you can think about personality, you can think about it in the way that we show up in the world on a societal level. Masculine and feminine, let's just dive in. Okay, so masculine is very data-driven. They are analytical. They value structure, clear roles, a defined hierarchy with a focus of outperforming their rivals and making money. Their strategies are often just linear, right? So the vibes that we're getting with masculine are very much like conquer, dominate, achieve, okay? And then we have our feminine, which is complete opposite. It prioritizes connection, empathy, emotional resonance, community, values flexibility, creativity, empowerment, hosting good morale and organic growth. And the strategies are a lot more intuitive. So the vibes here are really like open, personal, and collaborative, okay? This is an example of two absolute contrasts that each of us somehow in our personalities or our daily lives, we're navigating this, right? At home, I will admit, I am a Martha Stewart, Meghan Markle, okay? In business, I am so cutthroat, it's not even funny. Like, it seems a little heartless sometimes, but that's me navigating this, because in some things I have to be more structured, more analytical, and in other things I have to be more creative and go with the flow and express it, right? Okay, so now let's talk about balance and harmony. People are like, oh, what's your morning routine? How do you find your balance? It's like, balance doesn't exist, let's be honest. We can try to find balance, but the goal really is harmony. And what harmony is for us, it looks different for everyone, but it's just finding your piece in your own percentages of whatever your contrasts are, right? Masculine, feminine. Could be 50-50 for one person, 40-60 for another, 30-70 for another, right? So it's really, harmony is just finding our own unique balance and navigating what that looks like, because it can change. So I want to give you some examples of what contrast can look like in just like a day-to-day basis. We have work versus rest. We have structure versus spontaneity. Am I a designer? That was a terrible mistake, but logic versus intuition. Logic is like, well, it's logic. It's only logical that we do X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, what does my gut say? That's intuition. What does my gut say? Playing it safe versus taking risks. Going with the flow versus order. Innovation versus tradition. So expanding on something brand new, creating versus, no, let's stay rooted. Let's work with what's already worked. Now, on a stylistic level, I'm talking expressively in the way that we dress ourselves, and the way we put our makeup on, and the way that the hats that we choose every day, right? Bold versus subtle, middle versus maximalist, right? Playful versus serious, happy versus witty. And the truth is that, again, there's no wrong answer to where you fit in all of these. It's just a matter of self-expression. So I want to dive into, well, I'm a brands expert and I love brands, so I'm constantly dissecting businesses and people's personal online presence, right? Let's talk about some brands that have mastered the dualities in their own kind of unique, niche way. So one is, we're all familiar with, Apple. They're minimalist yet powerful. And the reason is because Apple balances high tech with extreme simplicity, making innovation accessible. So they're focused, but they're not too distracted on design, because the truth is that you can have a pretty product, but if it's a shit design inside of the experience, it's gonna be pointless, right? So they're balancing that. A Nine Being, she's it's a person and a brand, a fashion brand. Their brand is timeless meets edgy. They blend Scandinavian minimalism, which is where she's from originally, with effortless, cool Los Angeles, where she resides now, and that's where most of her work is. And she's creating wardrobe staples that feel both classic and rebellious. She wants her people to feel like they're effortlessly stylish, right? So she does find this combo between timeless and rebellious. We have Glossier, who was an absolute disruptor in the beauty industry. So they're highly aesthetic and natural. They celebrate the polished and the raw, the no makeup look, merging high quality products with a casual and very personal aesthetic. Let me tell you why this brand blew the beauty industry out of the water. Because for so long, literally decades, the beauty industry had this reputation to it that was like, oh, it's high class, rebellious, edgy look, bold lip, all that. No one was like, no, can we just like go back to the basics? Like, we don't need all this cakey makeup. We can literally just be our natural selves and just use makeup as this accentuator, this like highlighter to what is already beautiful to us. So their approach to the beauty industry was very sisterly. They were like, girl, we're your best friends, and we're gonna tell you what for real looks good and what doesn't. But the truth is that you're beautiful on the inside, and we need to complement that. We don't need to cover you in makeup. So they approached the beauty industry as just so friendly. And that in its time, it blew up, right? So, awesome example of navigating a contrast in an industry. Let's get into personal brands. So we have Sophia Amoruso, who's an entrepreneur, she's an author, she's a community activist, she's amazing. She has the emerging strategic mindset of a serious entrepreneur with a bold, irreverent energy of someone who doesn't follow the rules. So in a lot of her interviews, she's very masculine energy, very much like structure, to the point. This is how to get from A to Z. but behind the scenes and in her photo, she has this like extremely fun character to her. That is very rebellious and very vulgar in her language. Okay, Rick Rubin, he's a legendary music producer who strips down music to its absolute bare essence while working across wildly different genres. He balances simplicity and deep artistic complexity that makes his work timeless. You guys, this producer has worked in rap, he's worked in heavy metal, he's worked in soul, he's worked in everything. He's worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Run DMC, Adele, Lady Gaga. None of these people are the same, and they don't have the same sound. But what he does, and what he's the master of, is, again, going back to the absolute bones of what music is to its essence. And then he adds the creative flair on top of it by collaborating with other artists. So creativity isn't about choosing one extreme. It's about blending opposites in ways that feel fresh, dynamic, and meaningful. And so I think if we stop trying to fit ourselves in these like rigid molds, I think we're gonna have our own opportunity for originality, right? Which is hard to come by. So when you can understand dualities and find your own originality in between the contrasts, I think that's where you're sparking intense new conversations, whether it's with clients, whether it's with team members, whether it's literally with yourself. So some universal themes that you can find across dualities, contrasts, parallels, is strength in contradiction. So you can be both ambitious and grounded, both bold and soft, both strategic and creative. Authenticity is parallel dualities, meaning the things that make you different aren't weaknesses, they're actually what make you more memorable. And lastly, embracing your full self. We're multi-dimensional beings, and the more that we embrace our own paradoxes, the more authentic that we become. Because our ideas are unique. No one has this. No one has gone through the same exact experience that we've gone through. So that, whatever this is, the more that you can confide in this, the more that you're gonna disrupt your life in the best ways, in a very progressive way. So, all right, I'm gonna do something a little unorthodox, and for some of you, you might be hesitant in doing it, but let me tell you that you have literally nothing to lose. And we're all in this room together for another 20 minutes. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to participate in this, and it's super simple. It doesn't require you to talk with anyone. I'm gonna take you through a visualization practice. Visualization, some people call it meditation, some people call it daydreaming, some people simply call it thinking. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get super comfortable, and then I'm gonna walk you through a scenario, and I just want you to try to relax and just visualize whatever comes up for you, okay? So, gonna encourage you, if you have anything in your hands, to put it aside or down on the ground. Do we like the music?
Sure.
Yeah. I like
Works
music.
for me.
I like music.
Get quiet for some.
I have this playlist called Peaceful Meditation, and it lives up to its name for sure.
When somebody starts snoring, you know it's working.
That's okay. If you need to take a nap this time, that's all right. I'm for that. Okay, you guys, music is a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of my work. I ask my clients to create playlists for me as I'm creating their brand so I can get in their zone. It's my favorite part of what I do, because then I also get to mix up my routine in music. Maybe. Are you connected? Do you want to disconnect?
Just leave your phone button.
Okay. If it does that, then okay, well.
Just play it from your computer.
Huh?
Just do it from your computer.
Gotta kill that.
But you know what? Silence is the best teacher. And we're gonna roll with it. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure I have the mouse. Okay. Nope. Okay, so plant your feet on the ground. Both feet on the ground. You're gonna be tempted to fidget. If you need to scratch your face, please scratch your face. But try not to. Try to be still. Find stillness. Put your hands on your laps or wherever you feel comfortable. And I want you guys to go ahead and close your eyes. I want you to just listen. Become aware of your breath. Notice that it's probably a little bit shallow, so we're going to deepen our breaths by taking 3 deep breaths together as a collective, and I'll go ahead and start that. So we're going to inhale through your nose. You're going to exhale. One more inhale. And as you exhale, push all the air out of your body. And this is going to be the deepest one yet. Try to fully relax in this one. Inhale. And when you exhale, let go. Relax your face muscles, your eyes. Relax your shoulders. I want you to imagine yourself entering an open area. What is in that environment? The air is going to be extremely fresh, and it's just you. What does the sky look like? Notice the ground. You're going to notice a path in front of you. I want you to start walking that path. Notice what the ground is like. Maybe it's dirt, maybe it's grass, concrete, cobble. Keep breathing deep. You're gonna notice a house in the distance. Go ahead and walk towards that house. And as you approach it, you're gonna sense a familiarity to it. Notice the door, the windows, the color of the house. Notice what's in the yard. I want you to start walking up to the door. Notice the door. What does it look like? Go ahead and knock on that door. Someone's going to open the door, and when they do, you're going to notice that it's a future version of yourself. And they're so excited to see you. And this version of you is like this exalted version of you. One that's intuitive, creative. They've got more of their shit figured out. They're more confident. It's the part of you that knows how to deeply connect with yourself and with other people. And notice what they look like. They're greeting you. How are they standing? What's their expression? What are they wearing? And as they greet you into their home, take in the environment. Take a seat with them. I want you to tell them about your life, the way that it is right now. Now I want you to ask them what they need you to know right now. And just listen to them. I want you guys to wrap up your conversation. Start making your way towards the door and saying your goodbyes. Open up that door and start down the path that you started on. And as you make your way to the end of the path, taking in those last bit of that environment, I want you to bring your awareness back into this room by listening to your breath again. Maybe wiggling your fingers, opening your eyes. What you experience is your own mind. That's your own intuition. Whatever you believe in, whether it's magic, science, God, something, angels, that's intuition. That's feeling. That's being non-avoidant in life. It's choosing to trust. It's choosing to know. It's choosing to dream about something just beyond you. And sometimes it's just having a conversation with ourselves. Sometimes it's having a conversation with our past selves. But I want to ask you, and I don't want you guys to answer this out loud, but what does it feel like to literally see yourself in that light? In a version of you that can literally accomplish anything, everything. I want you to think about the advice that future self gave you that you need to integrate now, and think about how you're gonna do it. Maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe that's something to sit on. Some of us are planners, we're type A's. And others are just like, I'm just gonna figure it out as I go, right? I think we kind of live in a world where we feel like we have to choose one side or another. In our brands, we're like, I have to be bold because my competitor's bold, or I want to enter the luxury space because I love the idea of luxury. But what if it's not that simple? What if it's complex in the most beautiful, unique way? That's a free tool to go in like that. Stunning. The most powerful place that you can stand is in the parallel, the space in between the present and the future, where contrast creates depth, tension fuels creativity, and opposites literally make you whole. The who, what, when, where, and why of the projects you're working on, of the people in your life, of the person that you are today, it's gonna come. You'll be able to get clear on all of that as long as you start showing up more authentically you. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this today instead of brand design or whatever is because your personal brands carry you through your life. That is much more of an important brand than any brand that you're building, because you impact the room that you actually stand in. And the real magic of creativity is it's not choosing either or, it's literally embracing the both and, right? So if we can switch our language and rewire our brains to, instead of think, or it needs to be this or it needs to be that, it should be this, should be that, we can just be like, and it can be this, right? I'm Kes. I'm the founder of Brands. You can find me or our business on LinkedIn and Instagram. I just launched a Substack. I found in my contemplation, in my visualization, I realized that I have a niche for writing. So I just launched a Substack where I hope to pour my heart out vulnerably and just let you all see through me and the shit that I get to go through on an everyday basis, whether it's through my own mind or working on other people's brands. But yeah, I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jordan, who's also here. And I'm grateful. Thank you guys.